generally considered to be their key rival for the family inheritance. Lise might give Lil' Kim a run for her money in the slutty dressing stakes, but unlike the Fosters, she did at least have the advantage of being recognized by her husband. It was clear to Sam that neither Trey nor his daughters had ever set eyes on cousin Jacob before in their lives. On reflection, perhaps it was hardly surprising that they'd all shown up today. There was, after all, a lot at stake. The Palmers were one of the wealthiest, most prominent families in Boston and had been for 3 generations. Already rich when he emigrated from England, Trey's great-grandfather had multiplied the family fortune 5-fold, becoming one of the first great American hoteliers. His first hotel, the Cranley on Boston's exclusive Newbury Street, made so much money that within a decade he'd opened 2 more. The King James Hotel in Manhattan, and the now legendary Palmer's in East Hampton. By the time Trey's father, Tertius Palmer, came into his inheritance, the family's net worth was conservatively estimated at over $10 million, and that was in the 50s. Heaven only knew what it translated to in today's money. Like his father and grandfather before him, Tertius had been a naturally shrewd businessman. But whereas they had been expansionists, Tertius was a consolidator. Cashing in on the post-war real estate boom, he sold the original 2 hotels for an outrageous profit, which he went on to invest very successfully in the equity markets. Having hired a raft of stockbrokers to manage his portfolio, he was free to focus his own energies exclusively on the one hotel he hadn't sold, Palmer's. By the time of his death, the year before Honor was born, Palmer's was widely considered to be the most exclusive, most desirable hotel in the world. Honor and Tina grew up surrounded by reminders of its illustrious history. The hotel itself was like a second home to them. As little girls, they could hardly contain themselves with excitement when, every summer, their mother, Laura, would help them pack their cases and they'd set off for 3 joyously long months of fun in East Hampton. But when their mom died, Laura Palmer was killed in a car accident when her daughters were aged 10 and 8, respectively. Everything changed. Trey, unable to admit his grief for fear it might overwhelm him, had cut himself off emotionally from everything that reminded him of his wife and their former life together. This included not only his children, who needed him more than ever, but also Palmer's. The hotel that had been the jewel in the Palmer family crown for half a century rapidly lost its premier status as Trey started spending less and less time there. Now, some 13 years later, it had become little more than another dime-a-dozen luxury hotel, perhaps even a little shabbier than most of its rivals. If it hadn't been for the Palmer fortune propping it up and for its still legendary name, it would doubtless have closed years ago. Honor took a deep breath to calm herself and gazed out the window. She knew that what she was doing was right. Taking control of her dad's assets was the only way to save Palmer's and what little was left of her once immense inheritance. But she still couldn't look Trey in the eye. Even after all these years, his dislike and distrust of her still hurt her very deeply. Ironically, Brannigan's offices were on Newbury Street, almost directly opposite what had once been the Cranley Hotel and was now a souped-up shopping mall. It was June. The schools had just got out for summer, and the place was busy. Students in shorts and varsity t-shirts stood around in groups laughing, sipping their frappuccinos in the courtyard cafe out front, while wealthy women hurried past them into the designer stores, no doubt looking for bargains in the summer sales. They all seemed to be having so much fun. For a fleeting moment, Honor wished she were down there too, frittering away her trust fund like she didn't have a care in the world. That was how Tina lived her life, after all, along with most of the other vacuous Boston rich kids they'd grown up with. So why not her? But her stepmother's whining, wheedling voice soon dragged her back to reality. "It's outrageous, Mr. Brannigan," Lise was saying, doing her best to look hard done by, which wasn't easy given the 20-odd carats of diamonds scattered generously about her person. "Just because my baby is sick?" She placed a skinny, red-taloned hand on Trey's wizened leg. "These vultures are trying to move in and take advantage." "Oh, please," said Honor.